welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be reacting to a food theory made by Matt, Pat, or the food theorist. Food theory, whatever you call it, it's one of my favorites. Let's jump in.
Welcome to KFC. Can I interest you in our spicy classic C sandwich or a 6-piece KF'd wings combo? Perhaps a 12-piece bucket of F'd C? F'd C? You mean fried chicken, right? We can't use those words here. Can't use the words fried or chicken at a restaurant that's literally named Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's KFC now, okay? KFC. Please stick to the approved acronym or you'll upset them. Who's them? Oh no. I said too much. What the F is going on here? You mean fried?
Matt, what the f*** wrong with you? You bitch face.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, which will now be rebranding as FT. Shoot, that actually gets confusing with film theory. Foot?
Foot? The flip is wrong with you. You got tonsils.
I'm gonna spitball some shorter name options over here on our end and get back to you on that. Anyway, today I want to talk about a little something I ran across earlier this year while doing research for our 3-way KFC crossover weekend. Or should I say, Streamy-nominated KFC crossover weekend. They all thought I was insane, but it worked. What I had stumbled across was a conspiracy. The supposedly real reason world-famous restaurant chain Kentucky Fried Chicken officially changed over to its acronym KFC in the 90s. On the surface, it might seem like there's not much to theorize about here. I mean, going by KFC is just a simple slam dunk business decision. It's short.
Duh, bitch. Of course.
It's catchy. It couldn't possibly be easier to spell. Plus, it was already a well-known nickname for the restaurant at the time. When the restaurant began its rebranding circa 1991, the International House of Pancakes had already successfully rebranded itself as IHOP. Howard Johnson was
IHOP, the flip is wrong with you.
its nickname Hojo, and it seemed only natural for Kentucky Fried Chicken to hop on that same trend, at least until a chain letter came along that sparked a full-blown
The hell is a chain letter?
conspiracy theory that persists to this very day. That's right, theorists. There's a pesky little rumor floating around that KFC didn't actually change its name willingly. Rather, the company was forced to change by the government because what they serve doesn't qualify as chicken. Nani? What then are they supposedly serving?
Chicken. Also, I know this part. Of course they are.
As the theory goes, mutants. Featherless, chicken-like creatures raised in a lab and genetically engineered to be meatier than actual chicken. Honestly, how could I not do a food theory episode about this? Now, as you'd expect, the restaurant flatly denied all of this from the very start. In February of 1991, Kyle Craig, president of KFC US, explained to Bloomberg that the name change was entirely their decision and that it was simply a way to minimize the effects of the word fried. Not only because it carries unhealthy connotations, but also because it undermined the company's efforts to expand its menu beyond fried foods into things like grilled chicken, salads, wraps, and so on. And it makes sense. At that time, the US was at the height of its low-fat craze, and fried foods were public enemy number one.
Americans are just pure crazy. Stupid. Yeah. We just got a call, so I had to pause. Okay, back to the video.
The effectiveness of the quote-unquote low-fat trend, or I guess I should say the ineffectiveness, is a food theory for another day to be sure. But for as reasonable as it might seem for a restaurant in the early 90s to avoid the word fried, the mutant chicken theory is what grabbed everyone's attention. Because, duh, of course it did. And managed to hang around for 3 decades afterward. Wow, were the 90s really 3 decades ago? My brain says yes, but my obsession with gigapets says no. So today, theorists, we're gonna finally get to that Kentucky Fried truth. What was the real reason KFC shortened its name? Was it the restaurant's choice, or were they forced to change it? Is there actually a conspiracy at play here? Look, I'll admit it, I really want there to be a genetically engineered chicken conspiracy, like...
No, it won't exist. Moron.
Borderline need this to happen, but I promise to stay as objective as possible, even though I'm literally salivating right now at the prospect of a mutant chicken KFC thumbnail. And since we're going to be reviewing other people's theories in today's episode, I think you know what that means. It's Morty time. Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty. Now,
I know who a lot of PewDiePie. This is LOI ripoff. What a piece of garbage.
Travel back in time to the year 1991 when chain letters roamed the earth. For those of you who don't remember chain letters, I offer you this advice. Cherish your youth and never lose your sense of wonder. Basically, chain letters were viral content for a pre-internet society. Someone would physically mail a letter out to a bunch of people, and that letter would ask the recipient to make copies of the letter and physically mail it out to a bunch of other people that they knew. In theory, the letter would spread like wildfire and reach a tremendous number of people. Obviously, it didn't always work out that way. Not every chain letter is going to wind up going viral, just like how not every YouTube video is going to wind up going viral. Still waiting for my 2010 audition for the musical Hairspray to catch fire, you guys. However, there was one particular chain letter about KFC's name change that did
How many views is that? Wait.
Catch fire, you guys. However,
115K? Okay, let's continue the video.
there was one particular chain letter about KFC's name change that did catch on. The letter, which has evolved over the years into the form of emails as well as social media posts, claims that a University of New Hampshire study has uncovered a sinister secret, that the government forced Kentucky Fried Chicken to remove the word chicken from its menu and advertising because the meat that they serve could not be legally called chicken. The letter claimed, quote, they actually use genetically manipulated organisms. These so-called chickens are kept alive by tubes inserted into their bodies to pump blood and nutrients into their structure. They have no beaks, no feathers, and their bone structure is dramatically shrunk in order to get more meat out of them. Okay, so I'm not even gonna try to draw this out for dramatic effect. Everything in this letter, every single thing is either unverified or provably false. For one thing, the University of New Hampshire denies the existence of any such study. For another, KFC ads and commercials from this era still use the word chicken freely.
Enjoy original recipe, hot wings, or extra tasty crispy chicken.
And for modern KFC ads, it seems like the classic Kentucky Fried Chicken nomenclature is back in full force. And even if we overlook all of that evidence, it's really hard to imagine that KFC could pull off mutant chicken production at that scale. For one thing, the chicken genome wasn't sequenced until the mid-2000s, which means that KFC would have been hard-pressed to alter its chickens aside from selectively breeding them for desired traits. And even if KFC raised its own chickens, which they don't, they purchase chickens from thousands of independent farmers, but even if they did raise some sort of lab-grown mutant chickens in their own facility somewhere, we'd have to believe that KFC managed to keep the entire conspiracy secret for 30 years. And not only that, but when the government finds out about this outrageously cruel operation, instead of asking KFC to, stop, all they did was ask KFC to refrain from using the word chicken in its name. And as repayment for this unthinkably gracious slap on the wrist, KFC turns around and continues using the word chicken on its menu and ads anyway. I mean, I ventured into this mutant chicken theory with an open heart and a tinfoil wrapped mind. The whole government said we couldn't use the word chicken, and
yeah, of course, it's illegal, idiot.
so our KFC geneticists are literally decades ahead of every other scientist in the world is just a bridge too far, even for me. Sadly, this one's gonna get stamped as 100% theory certified false. I was holding out hope that there'd be some rational, fact-based reason that this theory keeps resurfacing, but nothing more than misinformation that keeps finding new audiences to fool. So, that's it, right? The truth about KFC's name change is that it's just a finger-licking, boring business.
Okay, so, of course, it's so boring. It's obviously none of the conspiracy they're going to be
To get rid of the word fried. Well, not so fast, because there's another, more recent theory floating around. What's interesting about this one, aside from the fact that it's 100% mutant-free, is that it claims the name change came about not because KFC was forbidden to use the word fried or chicken, but because the company wasn't allowed to use the word Kentucky. As mashed... But because the company wasn't allowed to use the word Kentucky. As Mashed.com explains, quote, in 1990, the Commonwealth of Kentucky trademarked their name, which meant that if KFC continued to use their original name, they would be required to pay licensing fees. Unwilling to comply with this, they opted instead to change the company's name to KFC, an acronym that many people were already using. And apparently KFC wasn't alone in this. According to the website Taste of Home, even the Kentucky Derby switched over to its nickname, the Run for the Roses, in order to avoid this licensing fee. fee. And as the website Snopes explains, in 2006, the state and the restaurant reached an undisclosed settlement, at which point the restaurant began using its original name, Kentucky Fried Chicken, once again. Now, this is a theory that Goldilocks Matt Pat can get behind. The fried theory, a bit too boring. The chicken theory, a bit too spicy. But this Kentucky theory is just right. Plus, a ton of very prominent websites like the Harvard Business Review, Southern Living, Yahoo, Mashed, Taste of Home, all of them have cited the original Snopes article or just regurgitated it as truth. So you know this has got to be solid, right? Still, we decided to do our due diligence and look into whether the state of Kentucky actually did trademark its name in the early 90s. And wouldn't you know it, we came up empty-handed. We couldn't find evidence of the supposed 2006 settlement between the state of Kentucky and KFC either. But we figured, yeah, there were explanations for this. Maybe the trademark language just got lost to time or got locked away in a database that randos like me on the internet don't have access to. But all hope wasn't lost because the Kentucky Derby stuff was very easy to verify. All we had to do was dig up some old TV broadcasts where they avoid using the word Kentucky in the Kentucky Derby. But then we found the ABC Sports broadcast from 1990, and this is what we encountered.
Today, ABC's Wide World of Sports presents the 116th running of the Kentucky Derby.
Okay, they weren't afraid of using it there, but maybe the licensing fee went into effect the following year.
As ABC Sports presents the first leg of the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge, the Kentucky Derby.
The year after that?
ABC's Wide World of Sports coverage of the Kentucky Derby.
So at this point, my faith in the internet is just shattered. Did this mean that Snopes, the most famous fact-checking website in the world, just serve us up a heaping platter of 90s chain letter-style misinformation? Well, not exactly, but a whole lot of these other websites sure did. Let me explain what happened. Most people know Snopes as a site that either confirms or refutes rumors and misinformation on the web, often labeling it as either true or false and providing sources to support the conclusion. But Snopes also has some other more nuanced fact-check ratings in its arsenal, like mostly true, unproven, or labeled satire. And if you check out the fact-check rating on their KFC name change article from January 2000, you'll notice it's rated as Lost Legends. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say the vast majority of sites that cited this Snopes article were focused on the wrong acronym. They were so focused on finding an interesting story about KFC that they failed to notice that this article is part of the repository of Lost Legends. TROLL, Troll. The content in Troll is different from pretty much everything else that you encounter on Snopes. Lost Legends content isn't true, and it isn't designed to be. According to Snopes, it's meant to be a lesson in the fallacy of false authority. Putting out misinformation with the Lost Legends rating is essentially Snopes' way of reminding us that we should carefully consider and verify everything that we consume on the internet, even content from a fact-checking website. And to be fair,
Of course, we won't. We're too stupid for that, duh.
this information that they put out regarding KFC's name change worked like a charm. A number of big-time websites got caught with their hand in the old chicken bucket. The story of KFC changing its name because Kentucky got trademarked is nothing but a big fat troll. And yet that Snopes article was cited as a credible source in many, many other articles, allowing the misinformation to spread unfettered like it was some 90s era chain letter. Still, I'm not sure Snopes' efforts worked out in the grand scheme of things. Sure, anyone who's diligent enough to track down the original source of this urban legend will eventually stumble upon Snopes' article and come to understand what the Lost Legends rating means, but it is definitely feeling like it's preaching to the choir. Meanwhile, the people who lazily spread misinformation without fact-checking are the exact people who will probably never investigate the Lost Legends tag. So while the Snopes article does indeed help draw attention to the prevalence of misinformation, in doing so, they're also releasing actual misinformation into the universe. An untold number of people encountered this story secondhand on Mashed, Yahoo, the Harvard Business Review, and so many other websites. Not all of those people are going to see this video or ever trace the story back to the Snopes page, taking the time to read about what the repository of Lost Legends is all about. So I would humbly submit to the fine folks at Snopes, your Lost Legends tag is overall kind of detrimental to your very important cause of spreading true information on the internet. So in the absence of evidence to the contrary, theorists, I'm inclined to believe KFC on this one. Believe it or not, they just wanted to use an easier to remember nickname that would help them navigate the low-fat craze of the 90s. So that's, it's not the most exciting way to end a food theory episode. Still, I hope it did help to put two of the peskiest KFC conspiracies to rest. Though I gotta say, if any of you theorists have inside information on the whole mutant chicken thing, definitely let me know. I want to believe. I want that mutant chicken thumbnail. But hey, I want to give a huge thank you to Trade Coffee.
Okay, so yeah. Just sponsor. I hope you liked it. Leave a like, subscribe. We'll leave credit to my bat. Anyways, see you guys later. Bye! Lick, 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 lick.